In English, there are many words that end in S. There are regular plural nouns, such as buses, books, and words. There are third-person singular verbs in the simple present tense: watches, sleeps, plays. There are also possessive nouns which end in an apostrophe S: Alice's, Mike's, Mary's. Now, did you notice how the final S was pronounced in 3 different ways? How was the final S pronounced in the first column? Buses, watches, Alice's. The S sounds like is. Those 2 slashes on either side of is refer to the broad transcription or way of writing the pronunciation of a word. Buses, watches, Alice's. How is the final S pronounced in the second column? Books, sleeps, Mike's. The S sounds like an S or an S sound. Books, sleeps, Mike's. How is the final S pronounced in the third column? Words, plays, Mary's. The S sounds like a Z or Z, which is a buzzing Z sound. Words, plays, Mary's. Why do we pronounce the S at the end of words in 3 different ways?
Well, first we need to learn the difference between voiced sounds and voiceless sounds, also known as unvoiced sounds. A voiced sound means it uses the vocal cords and produces a humming sound or a vibration here in the throat when you say them. Put your fingers on your throat and pronounce the letter L. 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 You notice you can feel a slight vibration here. L. That is because it is a voiced sound. A voiceless sound, sometimes called an unvoiced sound, is when there is no vibration in the throat. It's because it comes from the mouth area. For example, if we pronounce the letter P, P, it comes from the mouth area, P. It doesn't come from here, like P. It doesn't come from here, it comes from the mouth, P. So the P is an unvoiced sound. Try this with the other letters, and then you will feel a difference between voiced and unvoiced sounds. For example, the F sound, F. Where does that come from? It comes from the front of your mouth. F. So it is also an unvoiced sound or voiceless sound. How about the N sound? N. N. You can feel a slight vibration here, so it is a voiced sound. N. How about the Z sound or the Z sound? Z. Z. You can feel the vibration here, so that letter is also a voiced sound. Another sound that we need to know is the sibilant sound, which is produced by forcing air out through your teeth. It is characterized by the hissing sound, S, or a buzzing sound, Z. Also, the sound that someone makes when they want you to be quiet, shh. Those are sibilant sounds. Now we know the difference between voiced, unvoiced, and sibilant sounds. We can learn the correct pronunciation of the final S at the end of words in English.
The first group is of words that end in a sibilant sound. A sibilant sound is a hissing or buzzing sound. With these words, the final S is pronounced as is. This is sound is pronounced as an extra syllable. For example, the word race ends in a sibilant sound, a C. race. You can hear the hissing at the end of the word, race. So when we add an S to the end of the word in plural, it becomes races. Notice how race is one syllable and races is two syllables. Let's look at some words that end in a sibilant sound. Race becomes races. Bus becomes buses. Box, boxes. Prize, prizes. Kiss, kisses. Watch, watches. Dish, dishes. Change, changes. So if the word ends in a sibilant sound, then you add the is sound to the end. The next group are the words that end in a voiceless sound. A voiceless sound is when the vocal cords do not vibrate, as the sound comes from the mouth and not the throat. If the last consonant of the word ends in a voiceless sound, like the P in sleep, then the S is pronounced as an S or S sound. So sleep becomes sleeps. Let's go through the list and pay attention to the sound of the S at the end. Sleeps, books, hats, cliffs, laughs. The GH here is pronounced like an F, so it is laughs. Graphs. The PH here also sounds like an F. Graphs. These words end in a voiceless consonant, so they all end in an S or S sound. The third group contains words that end in a voiced sound. A voiced sound uses the vocal cords and they produce a vibration or humming sound in the throat. If the last letter of the word ends in a voiced sound, like the B in crab, B is a voice sound, so the S is pronounced as a Z sound. So crab becomes crabs. Let's go through the list and pay attention to the sound of the final S. Crabs, words, bags, falls, dreams, fans, sings, wears, gloves. They all end in a Z sound. Also, when a word ends in a vowel sound, we also use the voiced Z pronunciation for the final S. For example, play ends in an A sound, so play becomes plays. See becomes sees. Try becomes tries. Follow becomes follows. Continue becomes continues. So, in summary, there are 3 ways of pronouncing the S at the end of a word in English. The pronunciation of words ending in S depends on the final consonant sound. So let's look at some example sentences. Listen to the pronunciation of the words ending in S. All of the prizes are in the boxes. He reads books about hats. Butlers wear white gloves. Let's listen again at normal speed. All of the prizes are in the boxes. He reads books about hats. Butlers wear white gloves. How do you pronounce the final S in the following words? The answers will appear in 5 seconds. Click pause if you need more time. One, pauses. 2, ends. 3, bridges. 4, sings. 5, cups. 6, reaches. 7, students. 8, pens.
I hope you found this video useful. If you did, click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and remember to hit that notifications bell so you know exactly when I create new videos to help you improve your English. Have an awesome day!